In its early days in the 1600s and 1700s, Pennsylvania was the gathering place of many different cultures and religions. It was a place full of freedom and toleration. Other regions of the world were not so kind to others. During this time period, it was dangerous to have views that differed from the majority. When people are hassled because of their views or ideas, they are persecuted. The Moravians, a religious group of people, were one such persecuted group. The first group of Moravians lived in an area that is now the Czech Republic in Europe. Others that lived there, like the Roman Catholics, did not agree with the Moravians' views. Because the Moravians were persecuted by the Roman Catholics, a man by the name of Count Zinzendorf invited them to Germany to live with him, where they would be safe. However, too many people were coming to live with the Count and the Moravians. So, the Moravians migrated to North America where they could expand their town. They first tried to establish their town in Georgia. Georgia, at the time, was the cushion for the rest of the colonies, so the Moravians frequently experienced aggressive behavior from invaders from the south. The Moravians are pacifists, or people who do not fight, so they moved on to Pennsylvania. They finally settled along the Lehigh River in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. The Moravians had a very different lifestyle than ours today. They lived communally, which means that they had the same values and worked towards a common goal. This may not seem like it is very different from our lives today, but the setup of their daily lives will sound strange to us. The town was organized into choirs, or groups for men, women, and children. These groups worked, ate, and worshiped together. They were organized by gender, age, and whether someone was married or not. The men lived in one house, and the women lived in another. Oftentimes, children did not live with their parents, and instead lived with children similar in age to themselves. The Moravians organized the town this way because they thought it created support within the groups and a better sense of community. For education in the community, boys were taught reading, writing, arithmetic, and how to manage an account. The girls were also educated. This was rare for the time period, because it was thought that girls did not need to know how to do the same things as boys. Even so, girls were also taught reading, writing, and arithmetic, as well as embroidery, drawing, and music. In fact, the Bethlehem boarding school for girls is arguably the oldest all-girls school in the American colonies. Another reason the Moravians' lifestyle may seem strange is that, since they lived communally, nobody owned their own land, ran their own businesses, or owned their own house. This started to change in 1762. This brings us to the later half of the Moravians' dominance of Bethlehem. True Moravian style started to decline during the time of industrialization. Required communal living ended in 1762. People started their own businesses and also built their own homes for their families. The people who lived in the community did this by renting land from the church. In 1844, the church started to sell the land to people in the community. By World War I, Moravian life fell by the wayside as industrialization brought more and more people to the Lehigh Valley. However, Moravian life is not lost altogether. People still preserve the buildings so they look as they did in the 1700s, and they keep the important history of the founding of Bethlehem alive through tours, museums, and websites. To learn more about the Moravians, you can visit the Moravian Museum of Bethlehem.